Hey, it's Aaron Kushler and welcome to another video from EBSC. In today's video, we're going to be looking at 3 of the biggest strength building mistakes that CrossFitters make and how you can avoid making them. So we've all made mistakes in the past, and that's just part of the process of learning. But to save you some time, frustration, and lack of progress, I'm going to show you how to avoid making these mistakes in the first place. So let's get started. So the first one is not working on your strict strength first. Sure, kipping is great, and it's a really easy way of getting more reps in a workout, but when it comes time to actually building your base of strength, it's not really going to do you any favors. If you can bang out sets of kipping pull-ups, but you struggle to do 10 strict pull-ups, you're going to face issues down the line. And I know working on strict movements is going to feel like you're being left behind, but trust me, in the long run, it's going to serve you much better. And you're going to become even better by building a strong and firm base first. So start off by training strict movements like handstand push-ups and pull-ups and strict chin-ups. And if you haven't got these, even more reason to practice them. So if you haven't got strict pull-ups yet, maybe start off with something like inverted rows. Start doing them often, and pretty soon you're going to be doing sets of strict pull-ups much easier, and you're going to also avoid many of the issues most people experience with the shoulders particularly. I actually have a video with some additional exercises that you can do to help you get more strict pull-ups. If you want to find out what those exercises are, you can view that video by clicking up here. Number 2, not thinking outside the box. There's nothing more frustrating than being stuck at the same weight on the barbell for months on end. Quite often that frustration is met with doing more of the same things in the hope to get past it. And sometimes it works, other times it doesn't work. More often than not, it's just going to lead to further frustration. If your squat isn't going up and you seem to be squatting all the time, try something a bit different. So think about exercises like lunges and Bulgarian split squats. Exercises where you're using each leg individually. Your squat has obviously stalled because of an imbalance or a weakness somewhere that isn't being addressed by just squatting more. So it makes no sense to keep doing the same thing and expecting a different result. Trying something new might be the very thing that you need to break through that plateau. And this also works for upper body movements. It's not just lower body squat focused, it's all movements. So pull-ups, overhead press, any of those movements. While we're touching on the subject of upper body movements, don't be afraid to start putting in bicep curls and tricep extensions, as those muscles contribute to those big movements. If there's a weakness there, it's going to contribute to a weakness in a pull-up movement or any of your pressing movements overhead. I actually like to add in overhead tricep extensions to help with the overhead pressing movements. And also adding in hammer curls with dumbbells to help strengthen up the forearms, which in turn is going to help your pull-ups and even your rope climbs. Number 3, turning everything into a metcon. And don't get me wrong, training for strength in a metcon setting can be fun and challenging, but don't let yourself fall into the trap of thinking that you have to be sweating bullets for you to make progress. If you're sacrificing form and weight for that fatigue factor, chances are it's not going to give you the result that you're actually hoping for. Instead, treat your strength movements like you would any other skill. Practice them often and aim to get better at that movement. After all, strength is a skill and it can be practiced more and more. Alternatively, if you're pressed for time and you really don't have much time to train, you want to get a good workout in, you also want a little bit of that metcon feel to it, you can use something called a giant set. I use these with my own training and have had great success with it. I first came about this idea through Brian Alsrew, and he's used it and had a lot of success with it. It's a very effective method. So your first movement is an antagonistic movement to the main one. Okay, so let's say for example we're working on overhead press for the day. That's our main movement, so that's going to be movement B. The first one is going to be the opposite movement to that. So if we're pressing up, the opposite movement to that is pulling. Okay, so we might put a strict pull-up in there. So we'd go strict pull-up, we've got overhead press, then the third movement is a core variation. So you might do a hollow hold, you might even do GHD sit-ups, whatever the case may be. Your fourth movement is going to be a conditioning movement. So it could be something like burpees, it could be box jumps, or it could be kettlebell swings. The choice is yours. The way you go through it is you go A to B to C to D. Once you've completed that, then you rest 60 to 90 seconds, then you go through it again. This allows you to get a lot of work done in a really short amount of time. So you can set a timer for about 20 minutes. You can work up to, a heavy 1, 3, or 5 rep, whatever the rep scheme you've selected, work up to that in the 20 to 25 minute period. But again, using this method, making sure that the strength is the priority in that giant set. So we're not choosing a movement for the conditioning that's going to absolutely tax us to the point where we can't go back and complete another set. So that's how to use giant sets, and it's again worked really, really well for Brian, and it's worked really, really well for me. I encourage you to try it out for yourself as well. Let me know in the comments below, have you made any of these strength mistakes? And that's it for this video. There are 3 of the biggest strength mistakes that CrossFitters make when trying to gain strength. If you found this video helpful, make sure you like the video and subscribe to the channel. Thanks so much for watching, and I'll see you next time.